Welcome to Coach Talk.
Welcome to Coach Talk. We are back and we are ready to rock and roll.
How amazing is it? We are actually out and about today.
Today we're outdoors, so you may out there hear a lawnmower, a bird or something go past.
People coming to say hello because we've got some really friendly people around here.
Isn't today just a glorious day?
It's fantastic.
I tell you what, days like this today, you don't want to be indoors.
Well, if you can avoid it.
Yeah. I'm sitting here with LJ. My name is Dave. We are Coach Talk, and it's wonderful to have you out there listening to us today, another podcast. So today's podcast is going to be interesting.
Bring it on. I love it when you spring these topics on me.
Yeah, we do spring them on each other, don't we?
We do.
Okay.
But we have the best conversations.
We do, and it's unscripted, it's raw, and it's just the way we roll. So
we're unapologetically us.
Don't you love that?
I do.
So before we get into what we're talking about today, I'll go through a bit of a story with you. So there's this guy, and he's driving around in his car in the Midwest in the United States in America. He's right out in the middle of nowhere. And he comes across this Indian chief sitting on a rock. This Indian chief has a sign next to him saying, "World's greatest memory." And this guy goes, okay, world's greatest memory. So he gets out of his car, walks up to this Indian chief. He's all decked out with feathers and looks just magnificent. He's just sitting by himself on this rock. And he says, "You've got the world's greatest memory." "Yes." "Fantastic. So I'm going to test you out. Let's just see how you go." They said, "Okay, who won the NBA title in 1945? This Indian chief goes, "Minneapolis Lakers." The guy goes, he did. "That's fantastic. Wow. Okay, we'll test you out again and see how you go." He goes, "Who won the NBL, Major Baseball League, World Series in 1978? And this Indian chief goes, "New York Yankees." This guy was amazed. So
Yep.
he goes, "Okay, we'll really test you out here. What did I have for breakfast on January 14th, 1989? This Indian chief says, "Eggs."
How do you know?
That's amazing. It's amazing. Anyway, so he gets in his car and he drives away and he goes and does his stuff. And 10 years later, the same guy is driving through the central part of America, comes across the same Indian chief sitting on the rock with the same sign. I better say hello because it's been 10 years. I better say hi. So he gets out and puts his palm up towards him and says, "How?" And the Indian chief says, "Fried." Do you like that?
I do like that.
So the operative word for today's podcast is how, and I just thought I'd throw a joke in there. And
I love your dad jokes.
I'm sorry.
No, never apologise. Dad jokes are awesome.
They're awesome. So how is the big one for us today, and how starts off with how do you show up?
What an amazing question.
Yeah, how do you show up? And this can apply to everybody in all facets of life, whether it be your personal life, whether it be at work, in sport. How do you show up for yourself, and how do you show up for other people?
Wow, this is a really big topic and so
Yeah.
good to actually pull apart because we can take it into so many directions. However, my personal perspective is it okay to share?
Of course it is.
My personal perspective is that how you show up for yourself is the catalyst for any environment. And realistically, whilst we need to make adjustments, we don't need to make and wear masks in different environments.
Yeah. I love that because one question I was going to ask you towards the end of the podcast, and I'm glad we flipped it, was how important is it for you to show up for yourself versus showing up for others? And that's, yeah, what you just said is fantastic. It's, for me, and I agree with you, it's so important how you show up for yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you're not filling your cup, and this brings us back to a conversation we had a little earlier, but
Yeah.
if you're not filling your cup, how can you continue to support and show up and love the people that you love in the way that you like to show up, support and love the people that you care about?
Yeah, great metaphor. If your cup is empty, how can you tip anything into someone else's cup?
Yeah. So, from a cup perspective, we all have. Most people think that there's two ways of looking at is your is your cup half empty or half full?
Yeah.
What's your perspective on that? Which side of the coin do you resonate with?
It's a tough one because for me, I go towards the full instead of the empty.
Yep.
Only because empty conjures up in my mind it's more of the negative side of it. So half full because you keep filling versus empty, which makes me think it's towards the empty side of things. So if I use the metaphor as my cup half full, it's always going to be it's half full.
I think you touched on a really important point there that you skipped over. The cup's refillable, and it's important to keep refilling it because if it always stays half full perspective or half empty perspective, it stagnates. So the cup is completely refillable. But interestingly enough, your perspective on which way you choose to look at it will determine how you actually show up.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's good to realise that you should and need to keep filling your cup.
Every day.
If your cup is empty, it's hard. You cannot contribute to somebody else, as well as you can't grow yourself because there's nothing in the cup. So
100%.
the cup's a good one to relate to and run parallel with how you show up. Let's talk about a few pointers here with how do you show up. And one that I was thinking of is your mindset.
Oh, so important. So important.
It plays a crucial role in how you show up. So this can be how you are thinking, how you are feeling, what's coming up in you. Are you optimistic, open-minded? Are you growth-oriented? Or are you pessimistic? Do you have negative views? Do you not want to explore anything different or be outside the square or look outside the box? Are you fixed in your ways?
That's a lot of thoughts.
That's a lot of thoughts. And this is just mindset alone. And we could do a whole day just on mindset.
We can.
Yeah.
For the amazing listeners that we have, and thank you to everyone who's reached out and given us some amazing feedback.
Yeah.
We love the suggestions for topics that you'd like to see. However, for those that are listening to us, it's maybe if you're a little bit of an overthinker, when we break down all those mindset topics that the list, that's a lot to get trapped in.
Yeah.
So if I'm an overthinker and I'm working on my mindset, how can I simplify that?
Really easy. Positive versus negative.
Great.
Really easy. Am I a positive person? Am I a negative person? And from there, you can determine. Can you hear the birds in the background?
So good.
Don't they sound great?
They do.
This is great. This is so good being out here. Positive versus negative. So am I a positive person? Am I generally positive in my day? Versus am I negative more than I would like to be? If you change that alone in your mindset, that has a flow-on effect from there to being positive in the way you think, in the way you act, and then you'll see growth and results from just that one thing alone.
Absolutely. Do you think sometimes we can also get trapped in being too positive?
You can. You can be trapped in being too positive in the sense that it creates a false floor or a false economy. So, and I've seen this in people where they are too positive, where that's awesome, that's great, I love it. Yeah, they're not really thinking that, or they don't believe it.
So it's a mask.
It's a mask. Yeah. Yeah. Have you seen that before?
I have seen that before. And I guess if we're just talking about mindset now at the moment.
Yeah.
But it does show through in other ways. So I'd like to stick with the mindset if we can, just for now, because this is such an awesome topic. How do you think we can show up the best way for the person that we are? We're just dealing with mindset, nice and simple. If I had to have one thought that got me out of bed in the morning, for how I can show up.
Authenticity comes up for me. Be your
I
true
like
self.
that.
Yeah. Be authentic to yourself. Know who you are. Know what you like. Know what you don't like. It's also, and we talk a lot about boundaries in coaching as well. It's setting your boundaries and living your values, but being your authentic self is, and you talk about masks, how people may be too positive and say, yes, this is awesome and that's great, and people please,
Hmm.
which is another form of not being true to yourself. Authenticity is, it's, it's trying to be who you are, not being someone you're not.
Yeah.
And I think when you become in tune with yourself and you become comfortable with that, you show up as you.
Authenticity is a great word, and I love that
Yeah.
insight that you've just shared with us.
Yeah,
However, it's also more than mindset, isn't it?
it is.
So, what else can we look at to help us work out how we're showing up?
Adaptability. Adaptability. It's accepting that things will not stay the same. So it's getting used to going with flow
Hmm.
and accepting that if something isn't for you, that's okay. If something is for you, that's okay as well.
Yep.
It's being able to not be set in your ways so much where something that comes up doesn't work for you or causes you some sort of concern, anxiety, stress. Not everything that happens in life is going to go your way or be something you like or want to do.
Yeah.
It's okay to let things go.
Yeah. How boring would it be if everyone was the same and we had the same perspective and we were like the herd of sheep?
Yeah. It's robotic.
Very robotic
Yeah. Yeah.
and devoid of communication and connection
Yeah.
and experience.
Yeah, if you have adaptability in your life, it also builds a high level of resilience, which is important as well. So when you show up as you, and I'll quote anyone that has succeeded in at high level in anything. Let's take a movie actor, for example,
Mhm.
without naming anybody. They got to where they are because they show up as themselves. They've got the adaptability. They've got the resilience from over a long period where they are still true to themselves. They are still authentic,
Yeah.
and people see them for that, and that creates their market, it creates their brand, and it creates an interest in, they are targeted for who they are, what they can bring to the table. Other people are targeted and used for other components, but this person, because of their authenticity and everything else, and they're being true to themselves, and so that's a long term or a long game, playing the long game.
Yeah.
I try to be true to myself, and I try to, and I'm sure you do too,
Yeah.
LJ. It's some people don't, and I think I feel more comfortable in my own skin when I live my values and live my life, and my mindset is that I am trying to show up as me, and not everybody's going to like that, but there are a lot of people that do as well.
It brings me back to another conversation. Just sometimes you've got to hit that, stuff it. Because
Yeah,
if you don't hit that barrier of going, stuff it, you're either going to be pulled back into the fray,
yeah,
going against your values, beliefs, and your authenticity and everything that you choose to show up as,
yeah,
or you're going to have such self-belief in who you are and what you're doing and your journey, which isn't always easy, but it takes a really courageous person to step into that. But
It does.
it's so worth it.
It is very much worth it, and you can see people on the street. You can see people that you meet immediately, or people you've known for a long time in your life. Those are ones that have a high level of mindset. They show up as themselves, and they stand out from the crowd. You can see it. They believe in themselves. They have self-worth. They
Yeah.
know who they are. They actually like who they are, which is another topic again,
Yeah.
in having self-love. But they're not afraid to walk into anywhere and be them.
Yeah. And there's some great examples of that. I mean,
Yeah.
the first one that comes to mind is Richard Branson, his dream, his vision for Virgin and all of that encompassed. You've got Elon Musk,
Yeah.
Einstein,
Yeah.
Henry Ford, anybody who's been a pioneer in their field with the passion and belief and determination. They didn't get that way
Yeah.
by not choosing to show up for themselves.
Yeah. How did John McEnroe show up?
I think that's a really.
World-class
I was
tennis
going to say, I
player.
think that's a really debatable thing because for me, because I was so little when he was
Yeah.
on top, but he was a really angry man. Well, that's how he always came across. However, hindsight's a wonderful thing because when you look at what he bought, his ability to show up, he channeled his anger into something constructive, which I think is actually okay.
Yeah. It is okay. I saw John McEnroe play an exhibition match against a very young Andre Agassi in the late 90s.
That would have been a great match.
It was fantastic. And it was an introduction for me to see him live, and I was only young. John McEnroe, for me, at the time, and even now, he was a benchmark player.
Yeah.
He showed up as John McEnroe. And he showed up as, and we talk about mindset, his mindset was, he was mentally tough.
Yeah.
Physically fit, but mentally tough. He was authentic.
Yeah.
His authenticity stood out. Love him or hate him, and I love the guy. I love his sense of humour is quite broad and quite large. I'd seen him even commentating. He's very knowledgeable. He's got a great presence around him. His adaptability, he could change with the times, and now I don't know what he's doing these days, but he adapted all the way through times from being one of the world's best tennis players through to media, through to putting up with media speculation,
Yeah.
through the commentating. He showed up as John McEnroe, regardless of people how they saw him or thought of him. It's like everyone else that has reached that level, race car drivers or anybody else. They get to a point where they show up as themselves, and I think that's incredible.
Absolutely incredible. And as you're relaying that story, what's coming up for me is if we don't have the attitude and belief in our own passions, our own dreams to be the people that we're choosing to be, how can we then expect anybody else to believe in us?
100%. 100%. Self-belief is so important with this.
Another really good example, which you will appreciate because of your boxing connection, is Muhammad Ali. I was watching a clip of him only last night, and he was, I guess you'd probably call it trash talking a little bit. It was after, I think it was a match with George Foreman.
Yeah.
He's there going, I mean, he lost this round, but he's still there going, I'm the champion, I'm the greatest. I'm he talked himself up, even though he'd lost that bout. And this was an interview afterwards. His absolute unwavering determination and passion and belief and mindset around what he was capable of led him to eventuate to bring that to reality.
Yeah. And become the best in the world.
Yeah. In a sport that one wrong move, one wrong punch could totally change the outcome.
Yeah.
Just like life.
Just like life. Which goes on from there how do you show up? A large component of how you show up is your attitude.
100%.
Yeah. And we will talk about this again later on. But your attitude plays a large part of your day. You can change your attitude quite quickly.
How do you change your attitude?
I'll give you an example. Let's say hypothetically, you're at home and someone knocks on your door, and it might be someone who's trying to sell you something and you don't want them to be there, for example. And you're getting a bit miffed with it all. Thank you, but no thank you. And they're persisting on opening the door, and it just upsets you because you don't want them there. And then you walk out your front door and you come across your neighbour who you love very much, and suddenly you change because you're not upset with them. Only a part of you is upset because of what happened earlier at the front door. But you see your neighbour and go, hi, how you going? Oh, really good. How are you? I'm really well, thanks. How was your day? What have you done? And that's fantastic. And you have a great conversation.
Yeah.
You can do that immediately. And we will talk about changing state. But you can do that immediately with anything, really. You don't have to stay where you're at. So for me, I'm not going to walk down the street and go shopping or do something and be still upset because someone's banging my door down trying to sell me something I don't want.
Yeah.
Straight away I can say, okay, that was done and dusted. I still show up, enjoy my day, people that I meet, people that I see. I still enjoy walking into a coffee shop and seeing my favourite barista and how's your day been? Fantastic. It's been epic.
How good are baristas?
Oh, you know what?
We have the best baristas everywhere we go, don't we?
They're lifesavers.
Absolutely.
We love our coffee, don't we?
We do. We do.
They are lifesavers. And you and I have had so many coffees that we go into coffee shops and, whenever I go to a coffee shop, the first thing I say to the wonderful barista is, do you make good coffee?
What a great break state.
Do you make good coffee? And I always get, yes, except for the one lady I told you about
Yeah.
in Sunshine, and she was a lovely Vietnamese lady. And I said, do you make good coffee? She said, no, my coffee's so bad, I give you 50% off. And I said, it can't be that bad. I give you 50% off. But she made me, it was a decent coffee. It wasn't bad, so I gave her a money back.
Yeah.
But it's a great way to talk to people. So I'm not going to leave my front door a little bit miffed because someone's trying to get into my house to sell me something I don't want and then carry that into a coffee shop, for example. You can change it immediately. So for me, it's being aware and self-awareness, we'll move into that in a second, is key. So
Yeah.
I can show up anywhere, anytime if I'm also self-aware of where do I want to be, how do I want to feel, how do I want to engage with other people, how do I want people to see me, but most importantly for myself, how do I want to be seen?
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
And one thing I do love about you is it doesn't matter where we go or who we talk to or whether you're with your family or with friends or at work, you show up the same authentically. You treat people the same through choice, and I really admire that about you. So I just wanted to say thank you for being that example and that role model because I really think we need more of that.
Oh, thanks, LJ. Oh, look, I was very lucky through, and I've talked about my dear dad previously, but there's one thing I learned a long time ago is if you talk to everybody the same, and I do this, and we've spoken about this, I talk to everyone the same. It doesn't matter who you are, male, female, whether you clean gutters for a living or whether you're the Pope. It doesn't matter for me. It's always going to be the same from me.
Yeah.
It actually makes it easy for me to talk to people because I don't have to change to... So I'm showing up as me.
But it also shares a lot about your values and beliefs to
does.
treat people how you want to be treated and to respect that everyone's got a part to play. Where you're at now is not necessarily where you're going to end up.
Everyone's got a part to play. Everybody. And it's great to engage people like that. And most people will appreciate it, I think.
Some are not really sure what to do with it, but that's okay. That's all part of it.
It's all part of it. The bottom line is I love a good chat.
It's a great way. It gets
know.
back to how you show up authentically. And it's a really, really fun thing to watch you do a break state in terms of just asking people how their day is and to inquire about the other person. And I wish we could practice that more. I know that I definitely try and practice that more. And the people that we associate with, they're really, I guess, inspirational around that.
Yeah.
For those people that can't do that though, yet, and I say yet because it is a learned skill,
Yeah.
what's some other break state ways we can use for ourselves? Like I know music plays a massive part in me and my mindset and helping me flip my attitude some days because it's funny how many songs you skip until you find the right one that lifts you up and can change you. So I know that music is one thing. Some people dance, some people go for exercise. There's so many ways to help and support yourself.
That's a great question. Music is, as you know, it's universal, and I know that we have so many platforms now to access music of our personal choice.
Yeah.
I wonder how many people realise and understand that or for me, I think it's still an untapped resource.
Yeah.
Reason being is with music, maybe I do it the opposite way. I listen to music according to how I feel. So if I'm feeling really happy or excited, I'll listen to that sort of music that keeps me in that zone. If I want to relax and have just an easy chill, I'll listen to music like that.
Yeah.
And you and I are very similar. We love so many different types of music, and for our listeners, we quite often send each other a lot of music to listen to. Oh, I just found this, I just found that, and we love our music.
Yeah, we certainly do.
It is a powerful, powerful medium, music. It can change your state immediately just by what you're listening to.
Yep.
So if you want to step into a different feel, or you want to change up something from how you are and where you are and move into a different area, try the music thing.
100%, because it can lift you up. It
Yep.
can totally work on the resonance. For so many people use music when they're exercising to give them that little bit of a dig down deep and grit sort of thing,
Yeah.
sort of perspective, which is great. Some days you just need the sad songs that, the break my heart songs and all. Some days, like sunny days, how nice is it to put on happy music?
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
my dad loves every Sunday, he loves his opera because it lifts him into a place where he's peaceful and he
Yeah.
just gets to rest. So
Yeah.
music is such an, I think, underrated mindset flip.
100%. I've seen athletes, and I'm sure people have, I've seen athletes walking to where they're going to perform with headphones on.
Yeah. Well, I know when I'm riding or racing, I've got my tunes
Yeah.
that get me prepped, ready to go.
Yeah. It's a very powerful motivator when you listen to the right music. You see it with motorbike racing, with MotoGP.
Yeah.
They've got their headphones on just right to the moment they put their helmet on and go out on the track, and it's grid time. They're listening to something
Yeah.
that really motivates them and gets them going. Music is amazing, LJ.
So music, that's there's some great research come out on that really recently around how it physiologically changes our state, lifts our mood and helps us show up.
Yeah. The research, I think, is never ending with that, and what music can do. Well, even with babies and children.
Well, babies actually move to music before they learn to crawl and walk.
Yeah.
Like their little legs go and they
Yeah.
there's it's so cute. You watch babies that have just learnt to stand up and then they'll stand there and go, what do I do? But there's music in the background and they
Yeah.
start jigging away. It's such a great thing for helping you show up.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I'd love to just touch on before we end this podcast is in how you show up. It's also being aware and working on your self-improvement. And this is, we talked about it in, I think it might have been our first podcast, and I refer back to Tony Robbins again because he's just a legend. Constant and never-ending improvement.
Yeah.
But part of this is continuously working on yourself, your personal development, your personal growth, your self-improvement, how you're going to show up in a better way than you did today.
Yeah.
And this is self-reflection. You don't need to talk to anybody about it. You don't need to. It's just being self-aware, taking 5 minutes out of your day, and how can I show up better than I did today?
Yeah.
And it's that self-improvement and striving to just adjust a little bit here and there, and just look at, okay, today this did not work for me.
Yep.
And that's okay. If it didn't work for me, then what can I do to change that next time that comes up to get a better outcome? And that part of the self-improvement and the self-awareness, it all goes towards the longevity of how you show up. The good thing about all of this is you can create a mental diary. If you want to write it down, writing down things we've talked about is quite good. You can have a diary on this and make even a couple of words to prompt yourself about right now, right here, today, how do I show up? And then look at yourself in 6 months, 12 months, and even a year or two down the track, and be honest with yourself and look at your improvement and your growth and where you are at. Look at your authenticity
Yeah.
and use it as a ready reckoner and say, okay, here's where I'm showing up now compared to how I was a year ago, for example. And I can almost guarantee there will be growth and there will be advancement, and look back and go, wow, look where I have become from here to there, which is a great motivator to then, okay, what's my next step and where's my next level?
Yeah, I really like that.
Mm.
From a daily perspective, we the last couple of podcasts have issued a few challenges to our amazing listeners.
Yeah.
So I would like to know, and I hope that you don't mind me jumping in here, I would like to know how people sharpen their pencil to show up for themselves every day, because essentially that's what it is. You sharpen the pencil every day.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let us know how you sharpen your pencil, because obviously through this conversation we know that showing up there's a lot of elements to it which we need to consider. So if we were to simplify it, think of 3 ways you're sharpening your pencil every day, and then acknowledge yourself for it.
100%. It's so easy to do that. And people that may need a bit more of a physical prompt, walk out your front gate in the morning before you start your day and say to yourself, how will I show up today?
Yeah, I love that. What a great topic. Thank you for springing it on me. I always love it when you've got something in store and a little bit of a surprise.
This is awesome. So our website, LJ, is?
Coach Talk at, coachtalk.com.au.
It is. See, I love springing things on you. Isn't it fantastic?
But yeah, drop us a line. Let us know how you're going. The challenges, we want to hear how you're going with your challenges from the last couple of podcasts, and we'd love your feedback. We've got some great topics coming up which you have inspired and suggested, and we love that you're so involved in what we're doing and that it's resonating with you, more to the point.
We are getting great feedback, and the people that are doing this, thank you so much. And there are some topics, as you say, LJ, there's some topics that we will specifically design based on what people are requesting. So be in touch.
Yep.
Let us know how you're going, and have an epic day, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Great chat, Dave.
Thanks, LJ.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye.